Dividing polynomials. So this one is a degree of 3 polynomial expression because the highest exponent is 3. But this one is just a monomial, right? One term. So the first one we have 4 terms: 4x cubed, 6x squared, 10x, and 2. And everyone is positive. So dividing by 2x means we want to divide each one of those 4 terms by 2x. So let's do that. So we do 4x cubed divided by 2x. Well, we know 4 divided by 2, we get 2. X cubed divided by x, that's x squared. Then 6x squared divided by 2x, 6 divided by 2, that's 3. X squared divided by x, that's just x. 10x divided by 2x, 10 divided by 2, that's 5. X divided by x becomes 1. Then I have 2 divided by 2x. So this one is a little bit tricky. Let me write it with a pencil. I cannot type. So 2 divided by 2, that's 1. But we still have an x in the denominator, right? So look at those two. 2 divided by 2x, that is 2 over 2x. 2 divided by 2, that becomes 1. But we have to have write 1 on top of it. Sometimes in the numerator, we may have other factors. So we do more 1 multiplied by other factors will be other factors. But here we have no more other factors, so we have to put 1 here. So 1 over x. So this is the answer. B is similarly. So we have 3 terms here, 1, 2, 3 as a dividend. And the divisor is a monomial, just 1 term. Right, so we do that. So each one we divide by -6x squared y squared. So let's look at the first one. 24 divided by -6, positive divided by negative, we get negative. So we always deal with the sign first. Positive divided by negative, we get negative. 24 divided by 6, that's 4. So let me type. Type is easier. Writing with my finger is too hard. X raised by 5 divided by x squared, that's x cubed. Right. Y to the 7th power divided by y squared, that's y to the 5th. Y to the 5th. When we're dividing the same base, we subtract the exponents. Then the next term is -18. X raised by 4, y raised by 4. Negative divided by negative, that's positive. 18 divided by 6, that's 3. X raised by 4 divided by x squared, that's x squared. Y to the 4 divided by y to the y squared, that's y to the square. Then minus 3 divided by -6. We'll deal with the sign first. Positive divided by negative, that's negative. 3 divided by 6, that's half. Right, so let me use a pen to write this one. So that's half. 3 divided by 6, that's half. Then x cubed divided by x squared, this is x. Y squared divided by y squared, that's just 1. So multiply by 1, we don't really have to write it because anything multiplied by 1 is anything. So what's our answer? Our answer is -4 x raised by 3, y raised by 5, plus 3x squared, y squared, minus half x. All right. So 3 terms. Okay. Observe the first one. The radicand will have 4 terms, and then the quotient will also have 4 terms because we're dividing by a monomial. Monomial means 1 term. So same thing for B. The dividend is 3 terms. The divisor is just 1 term. So the quotient still 3 terms. So I have this 1 term. This is the second term. And this is the last term. Now let's see dividing by a binomial. So 5 is dividing by 2 monomial, 1 term. But now we're dividing by a binomial, 2 terms. Right? You see divisor, 2 terms. And the divisor is linear. It's polynomial of degree 1, right? So this one we have 4 terms, polynomial of degree 3. This one. So this 6 is saying use long division. But I really want to show short division. If we master short division, there's no point to use a long division. Let's see, how do we do short division? Let's do 8. We make this sign. So we draw a vertical line. We draw a horizontal line. So we make this sign. Then we will write down the coefficient of each term in order. So this is x cubed. Next one is x squared. Then this is the next one. The x raised by 1. Then constant. So we're going to write down those numbers inside here. So 8, leave a little space. -10, leave a little space. -1, leave a little space. Then 3. I don't know why this dot come. I don't need a dot. This dot just come out by itself automatically. Okay, so I'm writing down those 4 coefficients of each term in order. If I miss anyone, I'm going to write a 0. But let's see, if I don't have x squared term, then I will put a 0 in the square term spot. Then I look at the divisor. The divisor is x minus 1. So this is a minus sign. So I'm going to put this 1, I'm going to put a positive 1 outside. If this were plus 1, I'm going to put a -1 here. All right. So this is set up. We just need the coefficient of every term. And whatever this factor is, but taking negative sign. All right, now let's start. First step, whatever the first one, we call this leading coefficient. Whatever this number is, we're going to write down below the horizontal line. So let's just write down 8 here. Whatever this number is, just write down. First step. Second step, we're going to multiply this 8, this one, with 1. Multiply. 1 times 8 is 8. So where are we going to put the 8? We're going to put it down below -10. So now we look at, let me change my colors to be green. I look at those 2 numbers. What do I do with them? I add them. When I add, I get -10. Not -10, -2, sorry. Right, -10 plus 8, I get -2. Now what do I do with the -2? I'm going to multiply -2 with 1. Multiply. So here is multiply. 1 times -2 is -2. Where I'm going to put the -2? You guessed right. I'm going to put a -2 under -1. And I do the same. Sorry, I have to switch testing and writing. I have to change the pen all the time. So look at those 2. What I do with them? I add them. What's -1 plus -2? You did it right. -3. What I do with the -3? Yes, I'm going to multiply with 1 again. Multiply. -3 times 1, of course, -3. Where I'm going to put a -3? Yes, under 3. Now I look at those 2 numbers. What do I do with those 2 numbers? I add them. 3 plus -3, 0. So this 0 has a magnificent meaning. This 0 means no remainder. This 0 means x minus 1 is a factor of the dividend. So with all those numbers, right, how are we going to write our quotient, our answer for this? Remember, this 8 is the coefficient of x cubed. Remember, this 1 is part of the factor x minus 1. Think about the x cubed divided by x. It has to be x squared, right? So that means 8 is the coefficient of x squared. And the -2 is the coefficient of x. And -3 is a constant. So let me type. So that means the answer for that is ax squared minus 2x minus 3. So this, let me change my color to be right, is the answer for this. This also means the dividend, this one, the dividend can be written as this one, this quotient. Okay. This quotient, ax squared minus 2x minus 3 multiplied by the divisor x minus 1. Okay, so the dividend, so this dividend equals to, this is a quotient, this is the divisor, multiplied by the divisor. Okay, so that's, which means the dividend can be factored as 2 factors. One factor is x minus 1, which is the divisor in the beginning. Another factor is the quotient, ax squared minus 2x minus 3. So that's the meaning of this 0. Okay, so if there's no remainder, that means the divisor is the factor of the dividend. So that's A. Well, let's try B. You know what? I'm going to leave B a little bit because B is a little bit different. B, this divisor, x has a coefficient of 2. So let's do x plus 5, x minus 3 first. Then we go back to B. Okay. I have to erase this so I can have space. So let's do C. We're going to do the same thing. We draw this sign. We locate the coefficient 1, 9, 24, 19 in order. Right, so we're going to write here 1, 9, 9, 24, 19. I want to leave some certain space. Then the divisor is x plus 5, which means it's x minus -5, right? So I need to write down -5 outside. Okay, so we have set it up. Now, first step, whatever this number is, which is the leading coefficient of the dividend. So we're going to write it down. Write down under the horizontal line. And now we're going to use this one multiplied by -5. 1 times -5, -5. Where I'm going to put it? Yes, you're right. I'm going to put it under 9. What do I do with those two numbers? I add them. 9 plus -5 is 9 minus 5, which is 4. I put over here. What do I do with 4? Times -5. 4 times -5, -20. I'm going to put under 24. Yes, I'm going to add those two numbers to get another 4. Now I multiply this 4 with -5 again. Okay, but those are different 4s. Again, I get a -20. I put under 19. I add those two numbers. I get -1. So no more numbers to go. I'm done. But this one is different from the previous one. Previous one, we have 0 here. But now we have a remainder. This remainder is -1. This remainder is saying x plus 5 is not a factor of the dividend. Okay, because we have remainder. So how are we going to write? 1 is a coefficient of x cubed. -5 comes from x minus -5. So x cubed divided by x, that's x squared. So this 1 is a coefficient of x squared. This 4 is coefficient of x. This 4 is constant itself. And this -1 is a remainder. So how do we represent a remainder? Let me type. So 1x squared, just x squared. We don't really have to write 1x squared, just x squared. Plus x plus 4x plus 4. The minus, okay, the remainder is a fraction. Minus 1 over the divisor. What's our divisor? X plus 5. Oops. X plus 5. So that's the answer for C. The quotient is x squared plus 4x plus 4. The remainder is -1 over x plus 5. Right? It's a rational expression. So we have quotient as a polynomial, but the remainder is always a rational expression. Okay, let's do D. We do the same thing, but we see this one doesn't have an x term, right? That means 0 times x, right? 0 times 0 kills x, so 0x. So we same thing, we're gonna make this sign. We write down the coefficient with 1, right? 1 before x cubed. Next one, -12. Because we don't have x term, we're going to put a 0 here for x. Then -42. The divisor is x minus 3. So we're going to write 3 outside. Take down the first one, right? Take down this one. Then use this one, multiply by 3. Write down 3 here. Add those two. -12, add 3. That's -9. Then use -9 to multiply by 3. -27. Add to 0. Still -27. Then use -27 to multiply by 3. That's big number. 81, right? -81. So -81. Add those two, we get an even. So we're going to add those two, we get a -123. How are we going to write our answer? So the answer equals to 1 is a coefficient of x squared. -9 is a coefficient of x. -27 is a constant. -123 is a divisor. It's the, what I'm talking about. It's the remainder. 123 divided by x minus 3. See, this part is a rational expression, right? So the answer for this, we have a polynomial, we have a rational. The remainder is represented with a rational expression. Okay, now let's go back to B. Let's see how do we deal with B. Observe this. This is x minus 1, x plus 5, x minus 3, right? The coefficient of x is just 1. But here we have 2. And also for E and also for F. So how do we do this? So we think like this. We're going to rewrite as 2, I'm going to write on the top. So 2x minus 3, we're going to factor out 2. Factor out 2, then we write x minus x minus 3 over 2, right? 3 over 2 is still minus. Right, if I multiply 2 with x, I still get back 2x. If I multiply 2 with negative 3 over 2, I still get negative 3. So we're going to rewrite like this. So now we have x minus a number form. So we're going to do the same thing for this, for E and F. For E, we're going to write it as 2 times x minus half. For F, we're going to factor out negative 2. Negative 2 times x minus 3 over 2. All right. So in the right form, now we do the same thing. We make this sign. We locate the coefficient, which is a 2, negative 7, 4, and 3. 2, negative 7, 4, 3. Then I'm going to write, this is x minus 3 over 2. I forget about this, so factors 2 for now, okay? So I write a 3 over 2 here. So we set up like this. Once we set up, the procedure is the same as before, as A, C, D. We write down 2, whatever the first number is. We multiply 2 with a 3 over 2. We get 3. We add negative 7 and 3, we get negative 4. We multiply negative 4 with 3 over 2. Well, negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 times 3, that's negative 6. We write below 4. We add those two numbers, get negative 2. Then we multiply negative 2 with 3 over 2. We get negative 3. Excuse me. We add 3 and negative 3. Yes, 0. So this is the ideal situation. The ideal situation is saying, yes, the remainder is 0, which means this is a factor of the dividend. So how are we going to write the quotient? So the answer for that, for B is, well, let's write this. Remember, we have 2, right? 2. Now let's forget about 2 first. Let's do, so we have 2, negative 4, negative 2 in the quotient space. So that's 2x squared minus 4x minus 2. Minus 2. And 0 means that's a factor. So that's 2x minus 3. The quotient, so this is a quotient as a factor and the divisor as a factor. So this dividend, this part is a dividend, equals to this. right? Can be factored like this. But if we write down the answers for this, right, for dividend divided by this divisor, that's just this quotient. That's just this quotient part. So this quotient part is the answer for this whole thing, for the dividend divided by the divisor. Remainder is 0, means we have no remainder. Means the dividend can be factored as a quotient multiplied by the divisor. Now let's see E and F. E and F are similar. Let me just, so similar as B. We're gonna make the sign. We make the sign first. We locate the coefficient 14, -5, -11, -11, 8. Everything's in order. No one's missing. 2x minus 1, we're going to write as 2 times, factor out to x minus half. Okay, let's write down those numbers. 14, -5, -11, -11 again, 8. Then outside, we have half. Do the same thing, write down 14 underneath. Multiply 14 with a half, that's a 7. Add the -5 with a 7, that's 2. Multiply 2 with a half, that's 1. Add those two together, that's -10. Multiply -10 with a half, that's -5. Adding -11 and -5, that's -16. -16 times a half, that's -8. Beautiful. You get a 0 again. Okay, no remainder. Let's write down the answer first. So that's a 14. Well, 14, this 14, above 14 is a coefficient x raised by 4. So this 14 is a coefficient of x raised by 3. Plus 2x squared minus 10x minus 16. This is the answer, and also it's a one factor. It's a factor of the dividend. So the dividend can be written as the divisor multiplied by this quotient. But this, the green part, is the answer for this question. Okay. So let's see F. F, we're going to do the same thing. We locate, we see 4, x raised by 4, 18 is coefficient of x raised by 3. Oh, we're missing x squared, right? So we're going to add a 0 in there. Then we have -18, coefficient of x. We have a constant. And this one we're going to rewrite as, we factor out -2. Rewrite as x minus 1/3. Okay. Now we have our numbers. Let's write inside. We have 4, coefficient of x raised by 4, 18, coefficient of x cubed, 0, coefficient of x squared, -18, coefficient of x, 6, constant. Then we write 1/3 outside. It's going to be a little bit difficult to calculate because this will have fractions. So we take down 4, multiply with 1/3, you get a 4/3, right? Because 1/3 times 4, this is 4/3. We add those two, we get 18 plus 4/3. Well, So how do we do 18 plus 4 over 3? We have 18 plus 4 over 3. How do we add those two numbers? We multiply 18 with 1. This one is 3 over 3. Because we need common denominators. Right? Once we have common denominators, which is add, the operation is add the numerators. 3 times 18, that's 54. Right? 3 times 8, 24. So 10 times 3, 30. 24 plus 30, that's 54. 54 plus 4, that's 58. Okay, so let's write this one as 58 divided by 3. Now multiply this number with this. Multiply numerator with numerator, 58 times 1 is 58. 3 denominator, we have 3 times 3, that's 9. So we have 58 divided by 9. Then we add to 0, we still get a 58 divided by 9. Then we multiply this one with 1 over 3. Right, that's 58, because 1 times 58, that's 58. 3 times 9, that's 27. Then we add those two numbers. How do we add those two numbers? Let's add over here. We have negative 18 plus 58 divided by 7. 58 divided by 27. Okay, so that means we need to multiply. We need a common denominator. We need to multiply negative 18 with 1. This one is 27 divides itself. You see the number getting too big. Okay. So negative divided by positive, negative times negative, that's just negative. But we have a common factor 27 now. So let's write down the common factor. We have common denominator of 27 now. So write down the common denominator of 27. Now we have to do negative 18 times 27. So how do we multiply that? Let's do over here. Let's do under here. So we have 27 times 18. Well, negative times positive, that would be negative. So first we write down the negative sign. Okay. 7 times 8, 56. We carry on 5. 2 times 8, 16. 16 plus 5, 21. Then we do 1 times 7, that's 7. Because this 1 is in the 10th place. That's why we want, actually this is 10 times 7, so it's 70. Okay? 70. But normally we don't bother to write this 0. Then 10 times 20 is because this 2 is 20. 10 times 20 is in 100 place. It's 200, so 270. Now we get 6, we get 8, we get 4. So we get negative 486. Plus 58. I don't think this kind of problem will appear in the exam. Okay, so if this is too much for you, you can forget about this question. Now we subtract the numerators, right? We have 1 is negative, 1 is positive. So what do? Is we keep the negative sign. We use 486, subtract 58. So 16 minus 8, that's 8. Then 8 in this place now, because we did 16, so we only have 70 left. 70 minus 50, this 5 is in the 10th place, is 50. 70 minus 50, that's 20. And the 100th place, we still have 4 divided by 27, right? So that's this. So this one we get a negative 428 divided by 27. Then again, we're going to multiply this with 1/3. We multiply numerator with numerator, denominator with denominator. Multiply numerator, anything multiplied by 1 is itself. Multiply denominator, 27 times 3, that's 81. Right, that's 81. Well, now let's add those two. Let's add 6 with this new number. So this one, we're gonna add 6, because denominator now becomes 81. I'm going to just use this. 6, I want to multiply by 81 over 81 because I need common denominators. Then the numerator, I have 6 times 81. 6 times 81, 1 times 6 is a 6. 6 times 80, 480. So I got a 486 positive. Now I have a common denominator of those two terms. I just add the numerators. So I have a 486 subtract 428. 428. My fingers are crying. Okay, now 16 minus 8 is 8. So I have 70 now. 70 minus 20, that's 50. So I have 58. So now adding those numbers, it's 58 divided by 81. All right. So that's our remainder because no more numbers. Right? No more numbers. So this is our remainder. So how do we write our answers? Too much to write. I'm going to use this space. 4 is coefficient. This 4 is a coefficient of x raised by 4. Right? So that means down below 4, this 4 is a coefficient of x cubed. Positive, which is put a plus. This is going to be x squared because the next term. This is positive, put a plus sign. This is coefficient of x. This is negative, minus, constant. We have x cubed term, x squared term, x term, constant term. This is a remainder. How would we write this remainder? Remember, we have divisor. We have divisor negative 2x. We write it in the denominator. So 81 times negative 2x plus 3. That's the denominator for 58. Okay, so this is our final answer for F, which is 4x cubed plus 58 divided by 3x squared plus 58 divided by 9 of x minus 428 divided by 27. Then we could put a plus here. So leave this negative 2x plus 58 divided by 81 and negative 2x plus 3. Now let's see 7. Solve the following rational equations, solving equations. So let's see 8. We have a rational fraction, one rational fraction on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, we have 1 on the right-hand side. That means we can do cross multiplication. Right? We multiply x with x plus 6. We multiply 8 with x plus 3. They have to equal to each other. Why? Think about a half equals to 3 over 6. Right? How do we prove that? We prove it with cross multiplication. 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 3 is also 6. Right, so we do this cross multiplication. Let me write down the word called cross multiplication. So what should we do? X times x plus 6. They have to equal to 8 times x plus 3. So x times x, x squared, x times 6, 6x, equals to 8 times x, 8x, 8 times 3, 24. Right. So we get x squared plus 6x plus equals to 8x plus 24. We see our highest term is x squared. So we know this tends to be a quadratic equation. Quadratic equation, we want to move everything to the left-hand side, leave right-hand side to be 0. Right? We want to make one side to be 0. Because the equation doesn't matter, you leave 0 on the left or leave 0 on the right. Okay. Then what do we have? We have x squared plus 6x, now minus 8x, that's minus 2x. Then minus 24. Equals to 0. Right. 24, negative 24 can be factored as x minus 6, x plus 4. Because negative 24 equals to negative 6 times 4. And negative 6 plus 4 give us the middle term, negative 2, equals to 0. So by 0 property, I get x minus 6 equals to 0, and x plus 4 equals to 0. I solve those two. I move negative 6 to the other side, I get x equals to 6, and x equals to negative 4. I have two solutions. Right? So get two solutions for 7, 8. For 7b. For 7b, let's look at this. Maybe we want to use cross multiplication. Let's practice that. Of course, there are different ways of solving equations. And, if you already have your comfortable way to go about, go ahead. But today, I want to use cross multiplication method. Before, I think in class, I taught on both sides, multiply least common denominator. You still can do that. The least common denominator for A will be x plus 3 times x plus 6. You can multiply that on both sides, right? Because you can still use a method. But today, let's try. You may try those two ways, okay? In principle, they're the same. But let me do B with cross multiplication. But I cannot apply cross multiplication right away. Why not? Because on the left-hand side, I have two terms, right? I have two rational expressions. When I apply cross multiplication, it has to be one term on one side and one term on the other side. I can cross multiply. But here I have two terms. B, I have two terms. I cannot do that right away. However, I see this term has x minus 1 as denominator, and this one has x minus 1 as denominator. Why don't I move them to be on the one side, same side, so I can combine them? With common denominators, I can combine their numerators by the operation, right? So let's move to the other side. When we move to the other side, we have x over x minus 1 minus, because 1 over x minus 1 on the right-hand side is positive. Move to the left-hand side becomes negative. Right? Then equals to, I want to move this one. Let me change my color. I want to move this term to the right-hand side. Negative on the left. When I move to the right-hand side, become positive. So this two has common denominators. Has common denominators, I just perform the operation with the numerator. So the numerator is x minus 1, right? Minus is from here. Then the denominator is also x minus 1. Wow, which is just 1, right? Something divides itself with just 1. So that equals to 2 over x. So that means 1 equals to 2 over x. Right, 1 is 1 over 1. I can cross multiply. When I cross multiply, 1 times x is x. 2 times 1 is 2. X equals to 2. So one solution for this one. So this one, I just have one solution. X equals to 2. Okay. If you multiply least common denominator on both sides, which is x times x minus 1, in the end, you'll get the same answer. Now let's see C. C, maybe let's multiply. Oh, I have to lower this one. Can I see? Lower this one a little bit. Okay. C, we observe, we see x squared plus x minus 6 can be factored as x plus 3 and x minus 2, right? So let's multiply every term by the LCD. What's the LCD? Least common multiple, least common denominator, equals, in this case, equals to x plus 3 times x minus 2, right? So I want to multiply this least common denominator with every one of them. Let's multiply with the first one, this guy. You see, this least common denominator cancels out this one, right? So I'm left with only 20. 20 for the first term. For the second term, 6 over x plus 3. When I multiply by the least common denominator, x plus 3 canceled. So I have 6 times x minus 2. So plus 6 times x minus 2. Then multiply with 5 over x minus 2. X minus 2 divided by x minus 2 becomes 1. So I'm left with 5 times x plus 3. So get this. Okay, this one multiplied by the first term multiplied by this. I only get 20 because the least common denominator cancels the denominator of 20 over x squared plus x minus 6. So multiply that too, I get 20. Then multiply least common denominator with 6 over x plus 3. X plus 3 canceled. So I'm left with 6 times x minus 2. Then multiply with 5 over x minus 2. X minus 2 canceled. I'm left with 5 times x plus 3. Now let's simplify it. So 20 plus 6x minus 12, because 6 times negative 2 is negative 12, equals to 5x plus 15. Let's combine like terms. 20 minus, so I have 6x, 20 minus 12, that's 8, equals to 5x plus 15. Now let's move around. Let's move 5x to the other side. Same time, let's move a to the right-hand side. 5x moved to the other side becomes negative. 6x minus 5x, that's x. Positive a from the left-hand side moved to the right-hand side becomes negative. 15 minus 8 is a 7. So a solution is x equals to 7 for C. You may try to combine, you may try to combine those two. Excuse me. You can try another method. Combine those two fractions first, rational expressions first. You combine those two into one, then apply cross multiplication. Okay. Let's see D. D, x squared minus 7x plus 12 can be factored in those two factors. Okay, in those two factors. Let's multiply everyone by the LCD. So obvious LCD for D is x minus 4 times x minus 3, right? Because x squared minus 7x plus 12 is the same as x minus 4 times x minus 3. So let's multiply everyone. Let's multiply LCD with the first expression. Let's multiply LCD with this one. And let's also multiply LCD with this one. Now what do we get? A lot of things canceled. So the first term becomes 4 times x minus 3. Because x minus 4 divided by x minus 4 equals 1. Plus 3 times x minus 4. Second term, right? Because in second term, I have x minus 3 divides x minus 3. That becomes 1. Equals to 25. Right? Because x minus 4 times x minus 3 divided by x squared minus 7x plus 12 is 1. Let's simplify this. So I have 4x minus 12 plus 3x minus 12 equals to 25. Right? As a distribute 4, distribute 3. Combine like terms, 4x plus 3x, that gives me 7x. Minus 12 minus 12, that's minus 24 equals to 25. Now I move negative 24 to the other side because I want to solve for x. I want to single out x. So I get 7x equals to 25 plus 24, which is 49. Divided by 7 on both sides. So x equals 7. Right? 49 divided by 7 is 7. So 7 is my solution for D. Now let's see 8. So I'm going to finish by 8. Then I'll take a rest. I'll make up another video. Because my fingers are complaining. Okay, AA, we want to solve for C. Everything's in variable case, right? We have P equals to R minus C divided by N. So you see, this thing P is solved. So this case, P is solved, right? So we want to write a C on one side. So our goal is to write a C on one side, everybody else on the other side by legal operation. So what do we do? So this is our goal. We want to be able to write a C equals to expression of the right top down. Well, first P is P over 1. Right? P is P over 1. So let's cross multiply. Let's cross multiply. Cross multiply, we get a P times N, Pn, then 1 times R minus C, which is R minus C. We don't really have to do 1 multiply, right? 1 multiply by anything is anything. We're solving for C. So what do? We can move negative C to the other side, become positive C. Same time, we move Pn to this side. So we get C equals to R minus Pn, right? Because Pn negative C, the negative on right hand side, when I move to the left hand side, become positive. And similarly, Pn positive on left hand side, I move to the right hand side, it becomes negative. So C is solved. So this is our answer. C equals to capital R minus capital P times lowercase n. Now let's see B. B, we want to solve for B, right? B is hidden here. We want to be able to write a B equals to a presentation of the rest in terms of A and F. So how do we do that? If we want to use cross multiplication, I don't know why today I like to do cross multiplication. So let's do cross multiplication. So I want to combine those two into one term. So obviously the common denominator is A times B. So I'm going to multiply B over B for the first term. I'm going to multiply A over A for the second term. Now I have a common denominator, right? My common denominator is just AB. A numerator 1 times B is B, 1 times A is A. So I have 1 over F equals to, my denominator is AB, my numerator is B plus A. So now you see I have one term on one side, I have another term on another side. I can perform cross multiplication. So when I do that, when I cross multiply, I get a 1 times AB, just AB, then F times B plus A, right? After cross multiplication, to get this. I have to distribute F. So AB equals to FB plus FA. Because I'm looking for solving B, so I look for B terms. I want to put the B terms on one side. So that means I want to move FB to the other side. So I have AB. When I move FB positive on the right-hand side, I move to the left-hand side, it becomes negative, equals FA. Now you see my B terms are together, right? I have B here, I have B here. B is a common factor, so I can factor out B. Then the first term, AB, I left with A, minus FB, I left with F, equals FA. I want to single out B. How do I single out B? I want to get rid of this A minus F. How can I do that? I divide by it. I divide by A minus F on both sides, right? I divide by A minus F on both sides, right? Because when I do that, A minus F divided by A minus F becomes 1. So I'm left with B on left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I just have FA divided by A minus F. That's my answer. So B is solved. B equals to FA, F times A, divided by A minus F.